Hi everyone, I am Viha from SVC. I'm a lesson in 1B 22 IS 059. Today we're going to talk about comparison of prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. So first of all, we see saying what is a cell. So cell in biology is the basic membrane-bound unit that contains the fundamental molecules of life and of which all living things are composed. A single cell is often a complete organism in itself, such as a bacteria or a yeast. Other cells acquire specialized functions as they mature. These cells cooperate with other specialized cells and become building blocks of large multicellular organisms, such as humans and other animals. We can see the structure of the cell in the diagram given. First is the cell membrane, that's the outer covering of the cell, which protects the cell from the outside world. Next is cytoplasm, which is a liquid-like substance which contains all the cell organelles. We also see a nucleus, which contains the DNA and the genetic material of the cell. Next is the mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of the cell, which produces the energy. Lysosome, which manages the waste of the cell. Golgi apparatus and endoplasmic reticulums, which help in digestion and other functions of the cell. Next, we see the nature and functions of cell. So, a cell is enclosed by a plasma membrane, which forms a selective barrier that allows nutrients to enter and waste products to leave. The interior of the cell is organized into many specialized components or organelles, each surrounded by a separate membrane. The major organelle is known as the nucleus, which contains the genetic information necessary for cell growth and reproduction. Each cell contains only one nucleus, whereas other types of organelles are present in multiple numbers and copies in the cellular content. Organelles include mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of the energy transactions necessary for the cell survival are taken care by mitochondria. Next is the lysosomes, which digest unwanted material within the cell, the endoplasmic reticulum and the Golgi apparatus, which play important roles in the internal organization of the cell by synthesizing selected molecules and then processing, sorting, and directing them to their proper locations. In addition to this, in plant cells, it also contains chloroplasts, which are responsible for photosynthesis. Uh, Between all these organelles in space in the cytoplasm, called the cytosol, the cytosol contains an organized framework of fibrous molecules that constitute the cytoskeleton. This allows the movement of organelles inside the cell and provides a mechanism by which cell itself can move. Next, we see types of cells. There are two types of cells, namely prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. So, organisms can mainly be divided into two groups based on fundamental differences in their cell structures. So, animals, plants, and fungi are eukaryotes, while bacteria, archaea, are prokaryotes. The similarities between the two are as follows. They each have a cell membrane, and this cell membrane is made up of some kind of lipid bilayer that keeps the contents of the cell inside and keeps unwanted substances outside. So the membrane controls the movement of substances into and out of the cell. The material inside both these types of cells is called cytoplasm. All of these cells contain DNA. In eukaryotes, the DNA resides inside the membrane-bound structure or organelle known as nucleus, while in prokaryotes, the DNA is circular and floats freely in the cytoplasm and is not contained in any organelle. Finally, both of these types of cells contain ribosomes, which play a key role in assembling proteins. They are basically the factories of the cell. Next is differences between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells are unicellular. Their DNA is circular and floats freely within the cytoplasm. They lack cell organelles. Nucleus is also absent in the prokaryotic cell. They are generally small in size and are very simple structures. The membrane structure of the prokaryotic cell contains a very simple lipid bilayer. They reproduce sexually through binary fission. Examples for prokaryotic cells include bacteria, archaea, etc. Next is eukaryotic cells. They can be either single-celled or multi-celled organisms. Eukaryotes have DNA which resides inside the membrane-bound structure called the nucleus. Eukaryotic cells also have multiple organelles present in them. The nucleus is present in the eukaryotic cell. The eukaryotic cells are generally larger in size and more complex in their structure. The membrane structure itself is a complex lipid bilayer, which is also embedded with proteins. Eukaryotic cells reproduce asexually by various methods like budding, etc. Examples for eukaryotic cells include plants, fungi, etc. Thank you and have a great day.